organizations unique, how the leadership time spends their time, the investments that they make, and a few other factors as well. All right, so what I want to do now is to focus on how do I get better? So wherever I feel like I am in my organization or my part of the organization, wherever I think I might be a little more vulnerable or a little bit more vigilant, how do I improve? How do I become more vigilant? So George, what can I do to help me be a bit more vigilant?
Thank you, Wanda. And again, I'm delighted to welcome our audience and talking about seeing what's coming next and looking over the horizon. As you can imagine, most organizations are to one degree or another quite vulnerable. In our data, we estimate probably 60% would characterize themselves as vulnerable. So the natural question is, how do we get better? How do we keep up with the vigilant leaders or catch up to them and pass them? So one of my favorite stories about how to do this was the situation that happened, about 12 years ago, when Alan Mulally became the new CEO of Ford. And now, Ford was in a pretty dire straits then. Mulally came from Boeing, and he confronted the kind of culture that we were talking about before the break. Very insular, short-term focused, and this was played out in the leadership meetings by the pattern was that everybody spent the week before the meeting, that is the standard 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday morning meeting, looking at each of the operations. The participants would spend the previous week building and vetting and getting approval of a very tight deck of slides. And so it was truly death by PowerPoint. So Alan Mulally sat through one of these. And the next meeting, as he was about to begin, or at least as the first speaker was about to begin, he said, we're going to change things. And instead of having these pre-digested decks on the issues and performance, meeting budget, and so forth, we're going to talk about anomalies. And so I want each of you to think about an anomaly that is something out of the ordinary that happened in your business, say, auto business in Europe. Something that happened with dealers that you couldn't explain, seemed unusual. And the collective audience was totally flummoxed because they'd never been asked to think like that. And one Australian, as you might expect, came up with a great anomaly and said, I really don't understand this, but I'm looking into it. Now, this is a culture where you had to have answers, that expressing curiosity and uncertainty and even talking about problems was not valued, because if you had a problem, that meant you had a weakness. And so Mulally literally grabbed that culture by the neck and turned it 180 degrees with that, I think, marvelously effective and simple device of getting people to talk about the anomalies that they'd seen. Well, the next meeting, a week later, the roughly 20 in the executive team each had an anomaly. They focused their organization, said, get me an anomaly. And So everybody in the organization, particularly in the upper ranks, was looking around for something they couldn't explain, a problem they had. And I've talked to people who went through that, and he said it was the most stunning transformation in a culture. From problems as a sign of